And that's exactly what Gareth Shelton did. He is behind PopUp Painting. I don't want to say any more because he is on the line and is going to expand on what this is. Good evening, Gareth.
Hi Alice, how are
I'm
you?
good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, I'm not bad,
Good.
thanks.
Look, this sounds so exciting. I'm never surprised by the array of things that come into the BBC Upload vault, and pop-up painting was one of them. I know the top line is a social painting experience, but never a class. Let's unpick that. What is it all about?
Okay, great. Essentially what we do is we run workshops and events. They're basically painting parties. And essentially at an event, you're guided step by step through a masterpiece. You know, it could be Van Gogh's Starry Night or the Water Lilies or a London skyline. And you drink some wine and you have a paintbrush in the other hand and you're shown how to create something. And what's really interesting is that almost everyone who comes to our events has never painted before. So it's a really fulfilling and surprising experience. And even if people have never painted before, they say, wow, I really didn't know I could do that. So it's a
Sure.
really lovely event.
I love that. And also, we need to add that supposedly none of you behind the scenes at the company have any artistic experience, which I love. So come on, let's unpick your creative past because I've checked you out on socials ahead of the show. You look like a creative in many strands, even if it wasn't immediately painting, or maybe it was. How did you kind of lead into this?
So it's a really boring origin story, actually, and I really have to come up with a better one. But essentially, someone said, this is really popular in America. Why don't you try it? So we did. As I said, you know, none of us behind it were painters or artists by background, but
Sure.
we went out to America to try an event and we were really amazed by how much we enjoyed it. And, you know, visual art isn't my skill set at all. But I still really enjoyed it. And I think that's one of the really nice things about it, that you don't have to be perfect at everything you do. You can just enjoy things because they're enjoyable.
Sure. And look, you've got about 60 events a month, which is brilliant. I mean, obviously, everyone's loving their little dose of pop-up painting, whether it's, you know, why they're doing it, whether it's a celebration or it's just getting your mates together. And I know that you say you've kind of got this, in your words, kind of a vanilla approach to why you got into it. I don't think it's vanilla at all, though. And I want to get to know little Gareth. What were you doing at school or kind of into your teens? Because I'm sure there's sort of a creative vibe about you, even if it's not painting, right?
I think for me, I quite like coming up with solutions to problems, which, you know, when you start a business, you know,
Yeah.
every day is a horrible problem and you have to solve it. So I like that. But what's really nice about, you know, the team that we've been able to build over the last 9 years, and we've had about 100 artists on our books, you know, coming and going over the years. It's really amazing how talented so many people really are when, you know, they invest all of that time and effort into developing their practice. But no, for me, I'm a problem solver creative rather than a visual one, I think.
Well, I need you on my team because I'm not very good at solving problems. I feel like we could be a good team hand in hand. And we're talking about Mental Health Awareness Day, World Mental Health Awareness Day today. Painting is something that actually, I remember at uni, I had and still have a very creative best friend called Helena who does interior architecture, and she's a phenomenal artist herself. And although she could do kind of the Van Gogh Starry Night, and I'm more, I don't know, Mr. Blobby rolling around the floor in paint is the only way that I could probably
Oh, me
articulate
too.
anything that I make. But, you know, you must, I'm sure in these painting sessions, it probably is an outlet for people.
I think so, yeah. And you know, it's not going to solve every problem that people have. But for lots of people, people say, wow, that really took my mind off things. Or it's really nice to be around other people and kind of pick up on other people's energy. So I definitely think it can be helpful for people, but, you know, it doesn't solve all problems.
Sure. And the thing is, it's interesting with BBC Upload because we have all types of creatives on, and even people that, you know, are entrepreneurs or they have that entrepreneurial streak. It's still relative because it takes ideas and mind mapping and all the things that go into writing music and, I don't know, scripting something, whatever it is, it feeds into creating a project, whatever that project is. And for you, when there's a lot that's going on, I mean, I know that you're heavily involved, obviously, with pop-up painting, but when it comes to a day off, or, you know, hopefully you get one every now and then, what are some things you like to do to kind of, you know, keep the happy vibes on a day off? Some of those me things you like to do around work.
So what really works for me is going running, just half an hour a day. That really, really does it for me, because it's half an hour where I'm not contactable, and that
Yes.
really resets me. And I think for lots of people, lots of people that I know that run, they do it, partly to be healthy, but actually it's just really good for their mental well-being. So that's the thing that I do.
For
I
sure.
really notice a difference if I don't go for a run for a few days.
Yeah, it's interesting because running, I've said before on the show, it's something that I really struggle to get into. But once I do it, I do start to feel that kick and a buzz, and it just makes me feel super, super healthy, even though I'm probably not. It just changes that mindset. So exercise is definitely one of those things that comes through a lot. Look, we do have a lot of artists that submit to BBC Upload. Where can I'm sure they would love to probably check you out, do some pop-up painting and break away from maybe their day-to-day commissions that they're doing, or sometimes BBC Upload, it's not even commissions, it's sort of the very start, the beginning of a passion project. Where can they find you and get to know more about this painting community that you're bringing together across London?
Yeah, absolutely. So if people go to popuppainting.com, that's one place to look. But we've also opened our own bar in Holborn called the London Art Bar, and that's just londonartbar.com. And if people want to exhibit stuff or put on shows or anything, we're a space that really wants to, lend a venue to people.
Brilliant. So the London Art Bar. And how did that form? Because as you say, it's a place where BBC Upload is a place where creatives can platform their work, and it sounds like people can do it with you too. How did that begin?
So that was, a solution to a problem. So back in 2019, we were running loads and loads of events in loads of different partner venues across London. But then when the pandemic hit, and on the back of the pandemic, lots of our partner venues very sadly went bust, or, changed management, and, were really quite cautious about events. And I think that was, a really big thing in 2020 and 2021, this real hesitancy about having events
Yeah.
coming into your venue.
Hmm.
So it essentially just became a necessity that we had to have a space to run our own events. Otherwise, we'd go bust as well. And so it was something that we'd always wanted to do, but the pandemic really made it like a necessity. So we opened the bar in June 2021, and we've been open just over a year now. And so it's the main space for our events, our painting events, but we also do comedy nights, open mics, all sorts of different things. And
Lovely.
the goal is that it's a little creative hub.
Maybe we'll have to bring a BBC Upload stage to you at some point. It's
Ooh,
something I'm
good
looking to do. I
idea.
want to bring the BBC Upload creatives together in one place. So we'll have to catch up. We'll have to have a cuppa after this and put something together. But it sounds wonderful. And look, you since 2013, you've enabled 60,000 people to get together to paint. What kind of characters do you see in these sessions? Because look, I am such a sucker for the girls' toilet and meeting absolutely everyone and anyone, and just I love watching things. I love people watching and watching things unfold
Mm.
on a night. So you must get some cracking things going on in these sessions.
Oh, absolutely. Most people are very well behaved and they're very friendly. They're all very friendly. But now and again, someone has had maybe one too many glasses of Prosecco,
What?
and they're flicking their
Never.
paint. I know, it's never happened to me.
No.
They're flicking their paint. And there was one occasion where someone flicked her paintbrush and it flew across the room and went all up someone's back. So that's the sort of characters you get now and again. But most of the time, people are they do drink responsibly and paint responsibly.
Well, we'd rather flicker the wrist than flicker the paint, I think. But keep the art on the canvas, on the paper. Well, it sounds brilliant. Look, Gareth, thank you so much for sharing this. And we'll have to keep in touch and see what we can do in terms of this creative space that you've opened to platform creators, as you say, whether it's a stand-up or an open mic. I'm a sucker for karaoke, so if there's any of that going on, I'm there. I'm there. You don't even need to drag me out of the door. Gareth Shelton, thank you very much. Behind PopUp Painting, just remind everyone where they can find you in the events.
Yeah, so we're at popuppainting.com and londonartbar.com.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. Look at that. The things that come through BBC Upload. And I always say that even entrepreneurialism is, have I just made that word up, is creative in itself. I mean, to come up with an idea where it brings so many creatives into one place is fantastic. So as said, do check that out. And I'm really looking for a space where we can get a BBC upload stage going and bring everyone together. Now we're in times where we can do that. So as I say, watch this space.